Hertz and Amazon. I never heard of this.
About a quarter century ago, Amazon said it wanted to sell anything and everything a person would want to buy online.
I thought it was books.
Since then, revenues have grown.
Damn. Wow. That looked like one picture, but like multiplied 4 times. Damn, that is a mess.
38,000%. Every time it sells a new product, even veteran rivals fear getting Amazoned.
I would never bet against
Amazon.
Amazon. They effectively have unlimited resources.
Up until recently, one of the very few areas Amazon wasn't disrupting, cars. But now it is making moves.
Oh.
The latest deal is to help sell used cars owned by the rental company Hertz. It could be a boon for Hertz. Shares popped on the news. It could also help Amazon build up what is still a fledgling business. One loser could be dealers.
When you get a giant like Amazon retailing, the largest supply of used cars in the nation, coming from a large rental.
Imagine that. Imagine Amazon uses its like what? 200 billion? I don't know how much they have, but they have a good amount. Imagine using all of that and just buying cars up for cheap and selling it. I mean, Amazon has its own cars. You see the Amazon vans? They're like the EVs, they're owned by Amazon. Wow, that's when you have that much money, you have so much power. You could buy stuff in bulk and get it cheaper, especially like Whole Foods. Like Amazon's power to buy more in bulk and then distribute it throughout all of its logistical hubs. It's just a superpower. And now cars.
Companies, it can scale and escalate very, very quickly.
I mean, dealers are kind of scummy. It's like they try to squeeze as much money from you as possible. But think about it. If Amazon got it, and let's say they charge a small margin because they're all about the value and the price. Well, I don't know about the price, but the value. If they focus on the value, like, oh, let's get the car prices lower so more people can buy it, it's game over. These dealerships are gone.
Hertz has had its share of struggles over the last several years. It filed for bankruptcy in 2020 as rental car demand crashed in the early months of the coronavirus pandemic. It relisted in 2021. Shares fell nearly 10% on the first day. Management said in 2024 it was undertaking a critical transformation. Activist investor Bill Ackman took a stake in the company in April 2025, saying it was undervalued. Shares soared.
A 4.1% position in Hertz as of December 31st. That news sending shares sharply higher in the session, as you see. I'm told from a person familiar that the stake is actually much, much higher than that.
See what happens when you get money? When you get money, you get paid for just being yourself. You buy a stock and you're like, oh, I think it's undervalued. And boom, everyone else thinks it's undervalued because, whoa, who am I to say it's not? Who am I to say it's overvalued? He's the one with the money.
Q2 2025, the company said, was its best quarter in 2 years.
Gil West, the CEO, would say, hey, important progress made over the past year and a half, since he's been there, but much more work to be done. They still need to get more efficient on direct operating costs, but reselling and lowering their fleet costs is also part of that.
In 2023, Amazon said it was getting into the auto retail business. First came a partnership with Hyundai, which has since expanded.
No
the
way.
e-commerce giant, so far, is keeping no inventory and is not actually selling the cars itself.
Oh,
It's a show.
When do they sell EVs on Amazon? No way.
Showroom with many of the usual Amazon shopping features. Buyers can fill out paperwork and secure finance.
Oh my god. Oh, never mind. I was gonna buy a car with my credit card, but I'm like, yeah, like buy it with credit card, get the points, sell the car again. But yeah, car's gonna lose like 15% right off the bat.
Pretty much do everything except take delivery of the actual car.
Amazon is really a listing service on steroids for dealers. That's the play.
The real money for Amazon, banks said, is in digital advertising, which made $56.2 billion for the company in 2024.
They clearly set that up as a strategy to go after Google and Meta. It's high margin. I think what Amazon is trying to do is capture as much data as possible on the consumer.
I see what they're doing. Since Amazon is huge, and they're already, like, whatever product you need in everyday life, like let's say a remote, pens, water, cheese, Amazon has its own brand. Like paper, Amazon has their own brand, private label. They make more money. They provide a cheaper price, and because it's Amazon's brand, everyone buys it. Amazon Basics, it's like Costco Kirkland Signature, right? But now it's like so many people are on there. Now it's a bidding war. It's a bidding war to see who bids the highest in advertising. If you bid, what, $50, and someone else bids $100, another guy bids $200, Amazon's going to choose $200 and put $200 on the top. And if you're bidding like $20, they're not even going to put you on the top. So you just wasted your money. It's become like the modern TV commercials. You know, like back then it's like the radio commercials, you get billboards, and then TV shows. Now it's Amazon. Everyone goes on Amazon. They got majority of the market. Everyone knows Amazon. So when they go there, people can see it. They pay for billions and billions, or millions and millions, I don't know how much they spend, on marketing and advertising. And they kind of resell that to other businesses.
So then they can target or provide the consumer with much more targeted advertising.
Hertz has about 560,000 vehicles in its fleet. Rental companies sell these cars off after about 18 to 20 months of renting them out, although Hertz said that as of September 2025, 80% of its fleet was less than a year old.
They resell a couple 100,000 cars every year just in the U.S. And, you know, we're talking about several $1 billion worth of inventory.
There are several ways a rental company sells off a fleet. Some cars go into auctions where dealers buy them up. Less than 10% in Hertz's case, but around 15 to 20% for the rest of the industry. Some cars are sold directly to dealers. Hertz sells much of its fleet directly to consumers. It lists cars on its own website, sells online through used car seller Carvana, and lists on sites like AutoTrader and Cars.com. The company has 45 sales locations in the US alone. It also has a rent-to-buy program. Hertz and Amazon declined CNBC's request for an interview. John Pasamato is a former Chrysler Plymouth dealer and an auto industry entrepreneur. In an open letter to the head of the National Automobile Dealers Association, Pasamato said this partnership poses a threat to dealers.
Back 30 years ago, when it became very obvious that the larger rental companies were setting up retailing stores right near dealers and putting through used cars, dealers realized that. And they were selling cars cheaper than dealers could because they're acquiring them way cheaper than dealers can.
Oh, come on. I believe in the free market. If someone has better pricing than you and all your customers go to them, that's the free market. Offer a better price. Or like offer better products, offer better services. That's whose fault is that? That you don't have better products and services than your competitor. It's like whoever's the best win. You can't sit here and complain like, oh, him over there, Joe over there has better pricing than me. He's taking all my business. Who's gonna listen to you?
Car companies buy vehicles from automakers in large quantities. They get discounts. Pasamato himself was a fleet dealer. These aren't just bulk discounts, Pasamato said. There is a kind of discount called the stair-step incentive.
It's not talked about a lot. It's under confidentiality, but everybody knows they exist.
Basically, the more you buy, the bigger your discount on each vehicle. Let's say you buy 1,000. You might get 500 back a
Yeah, that's called economies of scale.
unit. Buy 5,000, you get 2,000 back. The idea is that these large fleet purchases help automakers keep production relatively consistent from year to year, and the vehicles historically would end up in the hands of dealers anyway, either through wholesale used car auctions.
But look, I just thought about it. I'm like, are monopolies bad? There's this thing, it's like, isn't there a law? There's a law. It's like, you can't have huge monopolies. You have to, like, spread them out I think it was either Rockefeller or what's that guy? Henry Ford. One of them was huge, and they had to like split them apart, so it's not one huge monopoly. Now that I think about it, what's the problem? The problem with monopoly is when they capture the whole market share, they start raising prices. Now there's no competitors. And then as they're raising prices, this is what I think, in the free market, then your competitors can step in and offer better prices. So the free market becomes even again, equilibrium. Because there's always someone that's looking for price, and if the monopolist, whoever has the monopoly, hikes the price gouges, there's going to be competitors that are willing to do it for cheaper. And ultimately, everyone's going to flock to the smaller boys again, to the smaller guys again. And it all evens out at the end. Free market in economy.
Or through direct sales.
What I see with the Hertz Amazon,
even this, it's like they make huge, like dealers buy huge amounts, right? And it's cheaper, like what they just said. I don't see the problem. Like, yeah, it is economies of scale. If you want cheaper pricing, just buy more.
Situation is what happened 30 years ago, but sort of on steroids, right? Now you can sell cars digitally. Now there's a web. Now you have Amazon, the biggest merchandiser retailer in the country.
The second threat is competition for cars. Here's a breakdown of where dealers got used vehicles in 2024. About 20% came from auctions. Steve Greenfield estimates there are about 300 auction companies in the United States. The biggest are Manheim, ADESA, and ACV. Carvana bought ADESA's physical U.S. auction locations in 2022. Manheim, the biggest, is privately owned by Cox Enterprises. But it says it facilitates the sale of about 7 million vehicles per year, representing about $50 billion in value and $2.6 billion in revenue. When auction company ACV went public in 2021, it estimated about 22 million used vehicles were sold through the wholesale channel on an annual basis, generating about $230 billion in sales. At the time, ACV estimated its total addressable market was worth about $10.7 billion. Rental companies make up about 5% of the cars going into the auction market. The others are dealers, off-lease cars, repossessions, and other fleet vehicles. By going directly to consumers, Hertz can sell its cars for retail prices rather than a lower wholesale price, and can avoid whatever other fees and friction that might come with offloading the vehicle to an auctioneer.
It is going to potentially put pressure on auctions if other commercial sellers like Hertz start bypassing them and selling through these channels that allow them to achieve retail pricing.
That in turn means there are fewer cars going through auction, where again, dealers buy 20% of their used car stock. The concern is that potentially anyone that would feed cars into auctions or sell directly to dealers could bypass those channels entirely and simply sell directly to the consumer.
So if I'm a dealer and I used to...
Okay, I don't see the problem with that. It's like, if people are trying to buy the cars, they're going to go with whatever's cheapest, whatever's the best deal, whatever their heart desires. Why does it have to go through the dealers? Honestly, the dealers probably paid for this video. Like, the dealers definitely lobbied, like, oh, we're going to go out of business. We need more cars. And they're going to put us out of business. Quick, throw some money at the government.
To buy 30 cars a week from Hertz, and I find that my consumers who are buying cars retail off my lot love these Hertz cars, and those dry up. To your point, it's like it just really constrains supply overall.
The impact on car dealers.
Supply. This was posted 2 days ago. There's no more supply constraints. You know how many cars there are? You know how many cars are sitting on the lots rotting? You know how many cars are from 2023 that's just been sitting? Still new because no one bought it. Still MSRP, but no one's buying it because it's 2 years old, but still considered new.
I think is negligible when you do the math. With Hertz,
imagine buying a 2023 car new today in 2025. Right off the bat, you're losing, depending on what car, right off the bat, I'd say you're losing like 40 to 50%. right off the bat.
When they were going bankrupt, when they were going through bankruptcy, there was a lot of commentary about an angst, so to speak, of they're going to offload 500,000 units. That's going to crater the used car industry. It's going to crater prices.
But Banks said if you spread Hertz's fleet across the entire landscape of new and used dealerships out there, it works out to just 1 or 2 cars per dealership.
It's one vehicle per dealer, essentially. And if you're just counting new car dealers, I mean, it's 2.3. I mean, so I don't think that's a big issue.
Hertz isn't cutting anybody off. This is just another avenue for them to possibly reach customers they wouldn't have.
Pasamato said that yes, Hertz's inventory might be 500,000 cars, but the total rental fleet is about 2.5 million, about 19% of the 12.8 million used cars sold through franchise dealerships. If this plan with Hertz goes well, Amazon could start offering the same deal to other rental companies.
We're in a digital age, so that...
I don't like... The companies should be paid for what value they put into the economy. Like, let's say you want to buy a car. What value did a dealership put by buying the car and then putting it in their showroom? What value did they add to it that they can charge a premium on the car? Like a margin on the car. You could buy the car from the auction. You need a license. But the barrier to entry is the license. You can hire a broker. When you hire a broker, you pay them, $200 instead of a couple thousand on top of the car that you're buying from the dealer? The broker will just charge you $200 plus whatever fees is involved. There's no value that they add to the car. They just bring it to you and they just bring it to their lot, put marketing on it, put sales on it. It's like taking something that's already there and repacking, sell it. It's like, let's say a store owner goes to Costco, buys product to sell. He puts it in his store. But it's like, you could go to Costco and buy it yourself, but you'd rather buy it from the store. Of course, if you're buying a lot, that makes sense. But if you're buying a little bit, you can still get it from Costco at the cheaper price. So I don't see any value that they add to the car.
Things like this can pilot and then go to scale extremely quickly. So everyone should watch as opposed to wake up one morning and find out that, hey, you remember that lucrative used car business we had for 1 and 2 year old used units? Well, they're gone.
The other reason to manage expectations, this isn't how Amazon usually does retail.
Ultimately, what's given them heartburn consistently is the fact that with any other product category, they can control the unpacking experience. With automotive retail, it's totally different, right? That last mile is fulfilled at a dealership where they have almost zero visibility and zero control of the unpacking experience.
Still, this is suggesting that the older ways of doing business are under pressure.
The greater story there is that it's this battle of inventory, certainly used vehicle inventory, that's going on between car dealers, and they're competing with each other, obviously. And then you've got the new player, Carvana, CarMax, which is an old player, but still new to this game of customer acquisition.
Dealers are adapting. Nearly 3/4 of cars come from vehicle trade-ins.
The auction has become a pretty costly channel for the average dealer, so they'd much rather buy a trade-in from a consumer than have to go to the auction and compete with other dealers for cars.
They're even buying some of them, nearly 10%, off the street. They've been doing this for a while, but the practice exploded during the pandemic when there were few cars available, new or used. How much used car sales contribute to a dealership's profit varies. One 2019 Edmunds report, pre-pandemic, said about 25% on average. It's a smaller share among the large publicly traded dealership groups, about 7 to 11% in 2024. The average dealer, and this really is just an average, sold 189 used vehicles in Q2 2025 and made a profit of $1,567.
Selling cars is such a tough business. I try to do it. A while ago, I bought a 2004 Dodge Neon SRT4. It's like 400 horsepower. I was like, oh, $3,000? That's not bad. It was like 36 something. I put the final bid And then when the invoice came up, it said surcharge, this fee, that fee, this fee, that fee. I was like, what? Shit brought it up to like $5,600, I believe. And then after paying it, I was like, what the hell? I overpaid for it. And then I fixed it, put like $1,000 in, got the suspension for it, did some body work, filled some holes, cleaned it, did everything to it, right? Probably like $7,000 into it. And I listed out for sale. Guess how much I got for it? Either $3,000 or $3.5K. I forget. It's been a while. But I was like, damn, I just lost half my money just by doing that. So I was like, at that point, I'm like, all right, never touch a car again. Don't try to sell one. Because every day the car, well, not every day, but like every so often, every couple of months, the car goes down in value. You have to sell it fast enough before depreciation like catches up to you.
About $600 less than what it would make off of selling new vehicles. But service and parts make up nearly half of each of the major public dealer groups' profits, and that's typical of the broader industry. Finance and insurance, often called F&I, is also important. Those are things that dealers sell when you buy a car, like loans and warranties.
When I don't get the chance to sell that used car to a retail consumer, then I have zero chance of retaining that consumer as a service customer where half of my profit is generated. So it does pose a problem.
In the United States, new car dealers are protected by franchise laws. In the earlier days of the auto industry, manufacturers decided on selling through franchise dealers so they could focus on product development and manufacturing and not have to build out their own sales and distribution channels. The laws were passed to protect the businesses making those investments from the possibility of an automaker deciding to open up a store across the street from one of its own dealers. These franchise laws are arguably the main stumbling block keeping digital companies from selling cars to the public. Manufacturers such as Tesla, which has no dealers, has fought numerous legal battles to sell its cars directly to its customers.
Oh, what?
Other brands, such as Rivian and Lucid, have followed suit. Even Volkswagen's forthcoming Scout brand is opting for a direct sales approach. VW and Audi dealers are suing. Honda and Sony have partnered to make a new car called the Afeela. Same thing, they plan to sell direct. Honda dealers are also suing.
The market is evolving pretty quickly, and I think that, we all need to be paying attention to how quickly the Carvanas and the Amazons of the world.
What? It's like the car makers like, oh, we don't want to do the work of advertising, marketing, selling the cars. Let's offshore that. Let's give it to someone else that is willing to do that. And when another brand comes in that is also doing the manufacturing, the R&D, the development, designing of the car, and they plan to sell it directly, they have a problem with it. It's like, oh, that guy's working harder than me. I don't like that. Prevent him from working harder than me.
Get traction, because there can be downstream implications of this.
Why the Amazon Hertz deal worries dealerships. If dealerships actually offered value to the consumer instead of just robbing them, they'll be fine. It's like they know they're ripping off customers, and that's why they're scared. They're like, oh, they're gonna treat them right. They're gonna take all our business. We're not gonna have money. It's pretty much what it is. It's also like jewelry, shoes. It's like you always try to get a better deal off of someone else. That's how you make money. What are you offering? The same thing. The same old thing. There's nothing new. There's no new value. You're just selling the same thing for more than you bought for it. And you try to lowball how much you get it for. And that's all for this video. Amazon Hertz deal worries dealerships.